Why we say that if you want to save money with clutch repair on these parts on work, you just want to pay twice. Just because this is really hard and you want to replace all these things as a complete unit at one time when you disassembling the gearbox and the engine. Patrick's Garage. Grab your snack, welcome back. Clutch fork can create a lot of problems which can be pretended to be not so easy to solve. This is clutch cable. You always want to adjust this clutch cable which are regulated by these nuts, but sometimes problems can be more hard and really many difficulties you can get if you want to solve these problems. Probably clutch realizes too much easier. This can be cause of clutch pressure plate weakness. And when you step on the gas and disc slides and car not drives and not accelerates. So this can be obvious causes of clutch disc worn or just weakness of clutch pressure plate. And I want to say that I was with these problems. And with my car, I go through these problems when I realized that this fork was cracked and I'm used. They're really similar forks, and 140 series, a little bit different. You know, attachments, 240 series, earlier models. But we can somehow to take this fork from junk parts or buy the new one, but this should be good quality. And yes, I want to admit that 240 series earlier models, they were more reliable forks, clutch fork. And I used this one for my car when I disassembled the clutch pressure plate, and I can't understand. A lot of times I just adjusted this clutch cable and I can't figure it what wrong, but thing is, turns out that was crack on the clutch fork. And I realized this I replaced, and later I noticed that disc slides. So I disassembled the gearbox. What more is it to disassemble? Gearbox or just pull out the engine? Probably more difficulties will be with engine if you want to get this access to clutch system. So I disassembled the clutch pressure plate and replaced this disc. But you want to make these marks to install into this proper place, especially if you disassemble the flywheel with daubs of paint. You want to mark this proper position, and also clutch pressure plate. They prefer balancing crankshaft, flywheel in assembling with this clutch pressure plate. And when you install even disc, you want to direct in proper direction this for install the gearbox correctly. I mean disc, you want to direct, centralize disc. Special tools also you need to centralize disc. Now can be this universal centralizing tool made out of plastic, in the cheapest kits for clutch. But you don't want to save money on these spare parts for clutch, because what I want to say that you will pay twice because really hard, this really expensive work to disassemble the engine, pull out the engine. What you prefer, to pull out the engine from the motor bay, or you just want to disassemble the gearbox, but in winter, how you want to accomplish all these work laying on the background, even frozen too much asphalt, really hard. And maybe more easier for any guys to pull out the engine and disassemble the clutch. Anyway, if you want to remove the engine, there is no any difficulties to at the same time to remove the clutch pressure plate, because you know that I'm planning to change the engine, and I remember that small ball, metal ball, I found in the gearbox, and I am assembled the gearbox, and later I realized when I shift reverse gear, it not fixed. So turns out that this small ball was intended to fixing position of shifter, but I can't understand from where this small ball was inside the gearbox. So now when I decide to remove the engine, I planning to replace engine my 9069. Not my current car, but anyway, I want to replace this engine and new clutch. I want to install again new clutch, new disc, new release bearing, and also we want to check more closely this bearing, which from the back of our crankshaft. This is a shaft of gearbox in this bearing. We want to check this bearing, how it rotates, that play of these bearings, that all bearings should be in proper condition, because we want to use these spare parts, high quality spare parts. We buying them. We go and buy them from a reputable place, and because this is will be more expensive to pay for these components, and they will be not best match quality which we prefer to use in our car, and this work will be more expensive, and you don't want to repeat this work, to redone any work. More better to be sure, if you're sure that your spare parts high quality and you want to replace them at one time. You don't want to return to this job later to redone something and disassemble the engine again. This is coolant again. You want to disassemble all these wires from engine and drain out coolant and pour in it again. This will be more work rather than to disassemble the gearbox, but yes, okay. Circumstances, really cold weather, and you want to choose which will be more convenient for you to do this all work with clutch replacement. When you work with clutch replacement, you want to check twice. You don't want to pay twice. You want to check twice that all parts in good condition. I mean, clutch fork, clutch disc shouldn't be worn, means nothing if it not worn. Maybe clutch pressure plate weak, really weak, and you want to replace clutch pressure plate and all these bearings, release bearing and bearing which in crankshaft. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Click the subscribe button and notifications bell, so that way you can be notified as soon as I upload new videos about car repairing.